Hello, everyone. I'm so sorry. We were trying to get this Google Plus thing figured out, but I don't think I'll ever be able to figure this out. I'm so happy that you guys are joining me. And for those of you who are probably having trouble, this call will be recorded, so don't worry. We were just spending a lot of time. We just wanted to get as many people on the call as possible, but yeah, so we were spending some time kind of figuring it out. I have Alex, who is my creative director, on the call too, just to kind of facilitate any questions technically that you have, even though we were figuring it out. But thank God you're here. I just want to start because it's now 6:14, so let's get started. As most of you know, this is my first TLC webinar, and first, obviously, on Google+, which is the reason why I couldn't figure it out. I am the founder of The Ladies Coach. My name is Crystal Fuentes, and for some of you who don't know, I'm a relationship coach for women. I have spent this last, guess the start of this year relaunching my vision for TLC. And thank God I had the help of Alex, who is actually on the call, and he just kind of created this huge vision, my dream. He pretty much, that's what we're doing, every day, when we're working on our love posts that you guys see on Instagram, or we're working on our videos that you guys see, or anything. He's really just creating my dream. And my vision for the Ladies Coach is to give women the tools and strategies necessary for them to have, that passionate relationship that's organic and sustainable in their lives, but in a really fun way. So if you visit the Ladies Coach, which I suggest you do, I suggest that you just have fun, right? The whole environment of TLC is just this lighthearted, fun kind of, giving you real strategies and tools, but it's just really, really fun. Today, as most of you know, I wanted to do my webinar, my first TLC webinar about positivity. I shouldn't make that face because, when you think of the word positive, it should be something uplifting, right? And it is. And and no part of this discussion am I going to really, really change your meaning about positivity, because I think it's beautiful. I mean, to have a positive life, that's beautiful. But what I do want to present is what I see. And what I see with women, and most of the ones that I help, I don't really necessarily think positive thinking or positivity is something that they lack. I think most of you, especially you on this call, or you, the people that follow me, or most of my audiences and clients, I don't think positivity is something that they lack, because, you all are doing so much, right? I see women who have full-time jobs, have a family, are a wife. I see women who are entrepreneurs, who are running a business, still taking care of their household, still taking care of their kids, still doing everything that they want for themselves. I see women who, want that passion in their lives. They just don't know how, but they still have that enthusiasm to try to find it. So what I'm noticing is that positivity is actually not the problem. And in fact, when I started thinking about what I wanted to talk about in this webinar, in fact, I actually believe that when we're so fixated on having positive thoughts and being so happy all the time, everyone's like, well, why don't you just be more positive? Well, I think that's kind of draining, right? To me, being positive is an emotion. It's just like being happy. It's just like being angry. It's just like being sad. If somebody said you need to be happy all the time, that's just not realistic, right? If somebody said you have to be angry all the time, definitely don't be doing that, but that's not realistic. What I find is that this positive mindset and how being positive is being thrown around, especially with people in my fields, and we teach it a lot. I teach my women how to be positive, but not throwing the word positive out there, because I feel like it's an emotion that we feel like we need to be and to have. And when we think about it every day, if we're like, oh my God, I just need to be positive. Oh, this happened, but I'm just going to be positive. It gets positively draining. So my whole goal in this talk, in this webinar with you, is to switch our mindset about positivity. We want to turn that into an emotion. We want to turn it into an emotion that we want to experience most of the time, right? We all want to experience happiness all the time, but it's not realistic to be happy all the time. And in fact, we're humans, especially most of the people on this call, we're women, so we have a wide range of emotions. Do you think that one emotion, being happy or positive, is the only thing that we can be? Absolutely not. I mean, we range in emotions by the hour, by the minute. I mean, I swear, I still do. I'm a relationship coach, and I teach this, but I still range in so many emotions. Thank God my partner is not in the room with me, because he would call me out on it, and yeah, thank God he's not here. But what I really want you guys to get out of this call is to get the tools necessary to shift your energy. And let me talk about that. I feel, and with most of what I preach and teach, and some of you know, and some of you don't, and you guys, don't know who I am, well, this is what I teach. I'm so passionate about learning what energy does to people, especially women. We have this capacity, to bring out so much power in ourselves, but also in other people. We have this instinctual, natural instinct to be caregivers and nurturers and really feed off of other people's energy. The bad thing is we feed off of other people's energy. And so my whole teaching in what I do with TLC and when I talk about passion is really getting us to own our natural energy, and whatever that means. And it's to be present with what we feel and to be present with what we need. And what I'm finding is it's not positivity that we're lacking. It's energy that we're lacking. Because women do so much, right? I just told you, we're doing a lot. We're now, in today's society, we have the freedom to be who we want to be and to still have that other nurturing instinct where, that's why we still have the mothers, taking care of the families, but still going and running shit everywhere. I'm sorry, I cuss a lot, so just bear with me. Yeah, I'm Crystal Fuentes. I'm a ladies coach, and I cuss a lot. But women are doing so much. We're keeping in with that natural instinct to serve everyone and then still running everything that we feel like we need to do. But what's getting left out is the ability to tune in. We're so fixated on tuning into everything and everyone else around us and making sure that everyone else is taken care of, which is beautiful, ladies. It's so beautiful. But what happens is we actually forget about ourselves. We forget that we need to be the nurturers and caregivers of ourselves. And so what does that do? I have women coming to me and they feel like they can't find passion in life, right? Oh, I have this degree, I have this dream job, I have a beautiful relationship, but I feel there's something lacking. Okay, how can we explain that? Is it because that person's not positive enough? I mean, it could be, right? We walk around, some of us are negative Nancys. I've seen a lot of you. But I don't necessarily think that majority of the time people can't find passion in their lives, that it has to do with a lack of positive thinking. And what I find is it's just a lack of energy. It's a lack of being nurturers and caregivers of ourself. So by the end of this call, I would love for you to take 3 ways to really, really hone in on your natural energy and to really bring that out into the world. So it's like a recharge. You just think of this webinar as tools to recharge your batteries. Another thing is I know that I have, and a lot of the women that I talk to too, we don't know how to tone in, right? We don't know how to tune into our own natural, what I call is our guidance system, our inner guidance system. We don't know how to tune into our core, right? It's just there's a lot of practices for that too. But then I also see that women don't like the word selfish. And I wanted to bring this up. I wasn't going to bring this up in the webinar. I actually did a video that's going to be released on Thursday. For some of you who don't know, TLC actually releases a new video vlog, whatever we call it nowadays, on Thursdays. And this week I had a love post that said, you know, being selfish is the most unselfish thing you can be. And we do not like the word selfish. It's just so ugly. It's like when somebody says it, you get this rage in you, and I've seen it. I see it in so many people that commented to me, emailed, and you know, and these are all my beautiful ladies. It's not anything harsh. They were just like, you know what, Krista, we don't like the word selfish. And this is such a great thing that happened, because we have so many meanings that we place on things in our life, words, things, situations. We have so many different meanings. And if it goes against our natural instinct, a word, that meaning of, you know, taking care of myself, no, that's not, that shouldn't be allowed. And I just got so much, you know, I got a lot of shit from that, because it's like, how could you tell me to be selfish? Why don't you just change that word, Crystal? Well, I'm here to tell you I'm never going to change the word selfish. I think everyone should be selfish. I think, you know, I'm going to explain to you what that means. But I feel if we were all selfish in a way where we really just tuned in and recharged our batteries and really, you know, restored that energy in us, what do you think the people around us will take? Everyone around us would feed off that energy. If we're recharging our own batteries, every single person around us is going to benefit. Period, the end, right? So that's not selfish. That's actually unselfish. It's you being selfish is what is making your whole world unselfish. And so when we talk about and how that ties into positive thinking, I think that we just have a lack of selfishness. Period. I think we just have a lack of selfishness, ladies. I think that we need to be more selfish in a way that inspires us and rejuvenates our souls, and so that we can be this passionate creature around everyone and everything. I mean, how much more passion would you give your kids? How much more passion would you give your work? How much more passion would you give your family? How much more passion would you give your intimate spouse if you just took care of yourself, rejuvenated those batteries, and then went out in the world? I mean, wouldn't your husband, boyfriend, fiance, whatever, I mean, wouldn't he or she benefit from that? What if you took that into your workplace? Now, a lot of you are saying, well, we don't have, you know, jobs that we're, you know, sometimes the jobs that we're doing are not our passion, or we're just going there because we need to make money. I get that. Right? I was there. We all have to do certain things in our lives, and it's not just this whole fancy skipping in the meadows like of things that we just, you know, like whatever we want. I'm living with passion. I'm just going to skip around and do whatever I want to do. I understand that there's certain responsibilities that need to be done. However, what if we shifted that, and what if we brought in our energy and this passion into the simple things that we do? I mean, Thich Nhat Hanh wrote a book, and it's all about these mindful practices, and I love it so much. It's such a small book, and I'll send it to you guys too. I'll post it so that you guys know where it is, and it's about bringing passion and mindfulness in every task or everything that you do. When you're walking around, being mindful. You know, and when you're being mindful, it's almost like you're kind of like recharging your batteries naturally. He talks about when you're washing dishes, be mindful of what you're doing. You know, we're so caught up in all this outside distraction of everything that we have to do, the to-dos in our heads, and we're starting to do things. And what it is it's just bringing it back in. Just bring it back in. What if we brought that in every single thing that we did in life? I mean, you'll find that the job that you once dreaded becomes much more pleasant, right? You find that you're treating people way better. The thing that I wanted to talk about too was going back to selfishness. Is one of the things I got from most of the women is, you know, reason why we don't like the word selfish is because, you know, we're so used to giving so much to everyone, and then when they don't give back in return, you know, we're hurt. We're like, how could you do this? Like, we give so much. Like, and what happens is you start beating yourself up, and you start restricting your energy, and you start getting so tired. It's like so draining, right? Who wants to do that? You go out, you wake up in the morning, you have to take care of somebody else. You know, in the afternoon, you have to take care of somebody else. And then that evening, you have to take care of somebody else. If it's not somebody else, it's something else. And what I'm finding is that women are saying, I don't have time to do this. I give them practices. I don't know when I'm going to have time to do that. We have time for everything and everyone else, but we don't have time for ourselves. That's crazy. How do we think that the most inspirational people in the world who have made huge differences, who have changed, you know, the meaning of love and compassion? Okay, Dalai Lama, you can think of Gandhi, you can think of Mother Teresa. Do you think that they could do any of this without feeding their souls first? Whether it's through their own practices, meditation, whether it's, you know, filling themselves up, you know, in whatever way, we could do that in our own way. I just feel that we are giving out an emotional bank account where we don't even have money in it. And so I think that through this, you know, through the practices I'm going to give you, are the three things that I think will restore that energy. I think we really just need to change the name or the meaning of selfishness. We're not changing the name. Change the meaning of selfishness, and really get into practices that get us passion. You know, get us that moment's passion, whatever it is. You know, fuel. Bringing us back down to what we are doing and why. You know, I have a story. This happened. I was in such a bad mood one day. And, you know, that never happens to me. I'm so perfect and positive. That's not true. But I was in such a bad mood one day, and everything was going wrong. A meeting had failed. I was waiting for somebody, and everything was just like, it just seemed like that day, you know, in those days where just nothing is going right? I mean, I know we all know this. But I was like, okay, well, you know what, since I'm over here, I'm going to go get dog food, right? My dog needs food. I'm just going to go stop at this pet store. I've been running around all day. Everything was failing, and I was just getting into this dwelling on everything that's happening to me, because life is happening to me, you know? Out of 7 billion people on the planet, it's all happening to me. I'm the only one. So I was getting in that mood. I went to Petco, and I walked in, and I'm just like, I'm you know, you do that stank walk is what I call it. And you're just like walking around, not even caring. Everyone's saying hello, and you're like, hey, you know, just your energy is like you're not sharing your energy, you're restricting, right? And you're just unhappy. And everyone knows it, right? You're just walking around. This guy who works at Petco, I'll never forget him. He instantly came up to me out of nowhere. And you know when you're in that bad mood, you're in your brain, and you're just like kind of thinking like this. He comes up and like knocks me out of my state, knocks me out of my bad mood. I was shocked. I was scared because he just comes up all happy. But I was like, oh, you know, hi. And he's like, how can I help you? Is there something that I can help you looking for? I was like, oh, yeah, no, I'm just looking around, whatever. So I walk around. He was already nice. I got scared. I had to like leave because I'm not in the mood to talk, right? So then I start going down the aisles. And I realized that the dog food that I wanted was actually 3 shelves up. I can't reach it. So I go and try to search her, and I was like, I'm so sorry. Like, listen, you know, the dog food's up there. Is there any way that you can get it? He's like, absolutely, absolutely. Let me get that for you. Let me go get a cart. And the genuine, it's not that he was faking it because he's working at a store. I mean, how many times did we go to Petco and people there are not passionate about their jobs, right? They just go to work. They just go to work to make money. They're not giving beyond their service. They're just there. You know, if you need help, they'll give it to you, but they're not overly generous. But what I found was that that generosity that he had was actually very genuine, and it knocked me out of my mood. Why? Because there was this energy about him that shifted me instantly. It wasn't about what he said. It wasn't about how he said it. It was like this force that came out of him, and that alone shifted me. I saw this genuine passion for life. It wasn't passion because he was doing something that he's passionate about. He just created passion. And when you live in that state, you rarely get tired, right? I think the problem with us is that we're living in this, we're trying to find something. We're trying to find passion so much. We're trying to find all these things that it takes us away from actually being it, and we get drained. We're just so drained. We're walking around drained. It's like, what did you do today? I just woke up 3 hours ago. I'm so tired. It's like, how? And this guy, had this genuine sense of passion for life, and he was that's what kept him going. That was his energy, and he shifted me. He did so much beyond what he was expected to do in that job. And everyone saw it. It wasn't just for me. A lot of people knew him because they go there quite often, and they knew him by name. And it was just like, that's who he was. And so I'm fascinated with that, especially with women. This is a guy who shifted me in embodying that energy and embodying that passion for life. Could you imagine what a woman can do? I mean, women, we're so powerful. It is unbelievable. And I'm not saying, yes, we're more powerful than men. I love the masculine energy. I love men. I love what they bring. Women, we have the ability not only to be that power, but we have such sick intuition, don't we? I mean, we have the ability to transform everyone around us by just living and being passion in anything you do. And it's so crazy because I'm teaching this, but I found myself, most days I'm like, I'm so excited about what I do, and I always have to talk, to Andrew, who you guys will meet one day. I always have to, talk his ear off about every little tiny small thing that I do because I'm so excited. And it's to him, he's like, babe, that was okay. You just wrote a letter. I don't know what why are you so excited? But I'm just in everything I do. But then there's times where I'm just in a downright shitty mood. And there's nothing that happened. It's just, that was my emotion. But what got me out of it was not to think positive. It wasn't to say, hey, Crystal, you're a coach. You teach this stuff. You need to get back into a positive mind frame. That would never help me. Because we all know intellectually that we can shift our minds, right? We can focus on gratitude. We can do all these things. We can shift it in a second. We all know that, but we just don't do it because we're so tired. I think it's just shifting our energy. And so here are the 3 things that I think, I would do to just to make life a little bit easier for us to restore that energy. Number 1, and this is something I had to learn, is to say no. No. Saying no to more outside things and saying yes to yourself. Saying yes to the things that you know are going to restore that energy, and saying no to everything else. Because what I find is we're doing so much. And it's not saying, oh, we got to lessen our load. No, we don't need to do that, right? If we got into this state of energy and restoration, and we can embody who we are, then we can go all night. We don't need sleep, right? When you're in this energy and this shift, you don't need to sleep. But what I'm finding with my beautiful ladies, I keep talking to, and I learn so much from you guys, by the way, because you guys do so much. But what I'm finding is there is no lack of positivity. It's just you need to say more no's. I'm the queen of yeses. I mean, before, now I'm being more no with my, I'm being more, picky with my time. But before I would say, yes, of course. Oh, you need me here? Oh, okay, I can help you here. And it was just like because I felt like I needed something. Like I needed something in return. I needed to be validated. I needed to be loved. I needed something I was trying to get externally. And it was fucking draining. It was draining me. It was completely draining. I mean, Andrew even, he's like, babe, why are you saying yes to all these things? Like, how are you going to do that in one day? And when are we going to do that? And it's like, I'm saying yes to everything else except for me. And then what happens? I'm walking around all shitty in the shitty mood, and I'm like, God, I have to do this. And it's like, well, you said yes to it. And then when I'm there, I'm like, I'm obviously present because I'm a giving person, and my whole passion is to give. But what I was finding was that everything that I was giving was for something in return, and it drained me. And so what I'm finding with you ladies is we need to say no to a couple of more things in your day, and this could be homework for you. So if you have a pen and paper, which I encourage you to have, write this down. Say no. And then below it, write down 2 things that you can start saying no to, and then what time you will have for yourself. Like, what's the time that you're going to get back? You know, how many yeses have you been saying to everyone else around you? And the time that you're taking from your own self, your own rejuvenation. Because when we take away from ourselves, we are losing passion, ladies. And it's not about finding passion, it's being passionate. But we can't be passionate if we feel drained. We need to find ways to restore that. In kind of a side note, I'm trying to like throw this out there too, so you guys know to come to the next Raw Sex. I have an event called Raw Sex, and that's another taboo name, which we'll talk about later. But in this event, I found it was important to bring in a raw vegan chef, myself, to talk about, you know, obviously what we're talking about now, you know, honing into your natural energy and building that relationship with yourself so that you can be more passionate in your intimate relationships. And then I felt like it was so important to bring on, you know, who I'm so excited. Her name is Jaya Ma. She is an internationally known sexologist, and she's like the best, and she's just so genuine. I love her so much. But I felt like it was so important for us to bring these 3 elements, because if we're going to talk about, you know, sustaining natural energy, I was like, well, you know, a lot of it is what we eat, you know, a lot of it, though, is movement. And so the next thing that I'm going to tell you to do, so number 1 is to say no. The next thing I'm going to tell you to do is move. You're not going to be passionate if you're sitting around moping. If I'm sitting at this desk doing work, it's great, right? I work from a computer. You wouldn't know that because I couldn't get the Google Plus to work, but I'm learning. But I'm always on the computer, so I'm sitting. And what I notice is that my back hurts, my body hurts, and I feel like my energy is so restricted. So I had to get into a practice of doing some kind of movement. Now, my partner, Andrew, for some of you who know us and go to our house all the time, he's constantly jumping on the rebounder, like every morning, all day, and he has the music bumping. I mean, I'm in my office, and I'm like, what is happening? But he's the happiest person I know, and it's because he's constantly changing his state. He's constantly moving. You know, he goes and does jujitsu. He has to move, you know, because he's a poker player, and so him sitting down all day, it's like, you know, guys even need to move. And so when I see him, I'm like, God, he's so happy. But it's just because he just moves. And so what I'm finding is that when we're giving to other people, we're not moving. We're not giving that time for ourselves to either go to the gym. We're not giving that time to ourselves to maybe dance, you know, in our office like I do. I literally put on some music and just start getting into movements, which I definitely want to go over later. Not in this call. But you don't give time for yourself to do the things that you want. Maybe go walking, maybe go running, maybe anything that gets you moving, to move, you know, and that's what gets your energy moving. How many of us have dreaded going to the gym, and then we get back and we're like, oh, God, thank God, right? I feel amazing. But it's just that, like, oh, God, I have to get up and I have to go to the gym, and oh, goodness, the process, because women are process-oriented. We have to think about, okay, and then I have to get the bath, and then I got to go get gas before I go to the gym, and then I forgot that I, like, left my water bottle. Where we're so process-oriented, and we're always thinking about the whole process before doing something, that it ruins our state. But once we do it, once we start moving, how do you feel? So number 2, ladies, gentlemen, even if you're on this call, move. You know, when you're starting to feel like your mind you can't think, or you're starting to feel restricted, or you're starting to get into this self-pity, go move. Period. The end. Go walk. Go run. Ladies, dance. Men, dance. Go jump on something. You know? Get your body moving, because that is the best way to shift your energy. And when you do that, you have more, you know, how many of us have felt so tired, but what happens is when we go out and move, we go to the gym or, you know, whatever, we go work out, we go running, and you have way more energy than when you started. It's not a miracle. It's just, you're moving, your body is releasing, your energy is shifting, and you feel more energized throughout the day, you know? And I know this to myself, and it's so hard because there's times where I get so tired, and the last thing that you think about wanting to do is move. You're just like, what? Jump where? Like, no. But you've got to find what works for you. So Andrew, you know, my partner, he jumps on the rebounder. That works for him. For me, it's dancing. I love dancing. I'll put on, you know, my favorite thing is Beyonce, because she is so hot right now. Do you guys see that in her new album? Have you guys seen her videos? Yes. I'll be moving to that. So in my office, I just move for myself. I dance, I move for myself, and that shifts my whole energy. The third thing that I suggest you guys do is set non-negotiables. What this means is, if you go to work, some of you have heard this before, but if you go to work, you clock in, right? You clock in for your job. Or if you're running a business, there's certain deadlines that you have to meet. Those are non-negotiables, right? You can't just go to work and whatever time you want, right? If you're scheduled at 8 o'clock, you got to be there at 8 o'clock. What I'm finding is that we set non-negotiables for everything else but for us. So when I hear this crap of I don't have any time, why do we have time for everything else but we don't have time for ourselves? And so what I'm finding it's not necessarily that we don't have time. It's just we don't make ourselves priority. Period. We don't. And this goes back to being selfish. You need to make yourself priority, because that's the way that you're going to give better to the world. That's the way you're going to give better to the people around you. But why I say non-negotiables, it's almost like setting a schedule for yourself that you cannot switch. Right? It's just a non-negotiable. If you have to go to work and you got to clock in, and somebody says, "Hey, can you be here at 8 a.m.?" No, I got to work at that time. Right? We say no. But what I'm finding is we don't do that for ourselves. So what's helped a lot of women is when I tell them to set non-negotiables, it's like setting a schedule like you can't miss. And to start small, right? Because sometimes we have to get into the practice, right? I'm not saying set a non-negotiable for 2 hours for yourself. Start small. Start setting 30 minutes for yourself in a day and schedule it. And there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. I don't care if you have kids. You schedule it in a way you cannot miss out on your 30 minutes. The problem that I see with that is sometimes we don't even know what to do, right? We set this time for ourselves, and then we're like, all right, what do we do? What am I going to do? All right, so you know what? I'm just gonna go and make dinner for the kids. Or you know what? I'm just gonna do a little bit more work. I'm gonna check my emails. So we don't even know what to do with ourselves if we set out time for ourselves. We just don't know. We just go back into doing our routine, giving for other people. So this is a practice, especially for ladies. My men, you got this down good. Men are they set time for themselves. They got time for themselves. But regardless, I think men should do this too. Set non-negotiables. A certain period of time every single day where there is no ifs, ands, or buts. It doesn't matter what priorities or obligations that you have in any given day. You cannot miss that. It's like you clocking into work you cannot miss. And then when you're in that time, you have to just sit through that time. If you use it, great. If you're dancing, meditating, or you go to the gym, beautiful. But if you start getting confused about what to do, get through it. Do something, shift it, but do not go back to that email. Do not go back to your kids. Do not go back to the dishes. Don't go back to everything else. Just get into the practice of doing this for yourself. Because when we do that, we make it a routine, right? Then we start finding new ways. We start finding that this time is used to really just just restore that energy, restore the space. We're clearing, we're downloading, right? We're downloading everything back, you know, and then we're just clearing up space in our head. So it's getting into that practice where you can get through the time, whether it's 15 minutes, whether it's 30 minutes. You can increase it throughout the time. And then what you're going to find is that eventually you're going to make a lot of time for yourself and you're going to be a lot more happier. It's not positive thinking, it's doing, right? It's doing, it's making those shifts for ourselves. It's taking care of ourselves and saying, you know, instead of asking everyone else what they feel and what they want, it's saying, what do I want? What would you want, Crystal? How can I serve you today? How can we use this 30 minutes that we have, you know, for ourselves? What can we do? What would you like? So I think sometimes we stop listening to ourselves because we're so tuned into everyone else. It's like our antennas are just like, you know, instead of just tuning in to us. So that's what's draining my beautiful ladies. I see it, and every time I get, you know, I get asked a lot about how do I find my passion, which you don't find. Passion is you, right? It's a state. It's how you present yourself to the world. The funny thing is, though, when you're so passionate and you're so in tune to yourself, what happens? Everything else starts falling in its place. Then you start finding that thing. When we say finding, you get that thing that lights you up and it doesn't feel like work, right? But if you're living passion, you'll eventually, everything that you attract is going to be passion. It's going to be passionate because you're in that state. You know, you're in that state of living present and living congruent to who you are. Another thing I get asked is, about the relationships that we have, like how, I don't have any time. We talked about that. How do I, give, how can I set boundaries? That's a big one too, right? That kind of goes along with this talk, boundaries, because we're so tuned into everything. We don't know when our boundaries was. That was me. I said yes to everything. I said yes to everyone around me, and I didn't have any boundaries. I just let them it was just like a free-for-all for everyone. I was like everyone's free-for-all. I wasn't serving myself. I didn't set boundaries. Well, what happens is if you do this non-negotiable, you're already setting a boundary. You're actually setting a boundary for the people that you really love, like even your significant others. I keep looking over there because he's in the other room, but it's not like he can see me. But you're setting boundaries, with your kids. And this is key, women. Your kids, learn from the practices, the healthy practices that you do, So when they see that you're spending time you have that certain allotted time for yourself, they know how to do that for them. You can even make it a household practice. Like, hey, you know what? This is our time. We're going to make this time self-time. Everyone in this house gets self-time for 30 minutes. And then you guys can all come back together and talk about what you found and what you realized. Getting your practices trickle down to your household. And even if you didn't do that, your energy and coming out of this practice is non-negotiable for yourself. You're going to come back, and they're going to be like, wow, Mom is fun. She's not angry. She's cool, Like, that's not a bad thing, right? Most of the time, because we're giving so much, our patience is short, right? Even to our kids, to our significant others, to our family, whatever. We're just like, okay. That's not nice, right? I'm guilty of doing this, but I know we all are. But it's learning, okay, how can I shift this? But I feel like if you do these 3 things, which is say no to some things. And I hope you guys wrote that down, because after this webinar, I want to have a discussion, so you guys can kind of talk of what we talked about here. But I definitely want to answer any questions. So whether it's on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, or on my website, I would love for you guys to send your questions, and I'll give an hour to answering every single person's question. 1 hour. But if we say no, right, number 1, say no to certain things, we free up time for ourselves. And that time gets recycled and it's like a passion burst. It's like an energy burst, and everyone feeds off of it, whoever's around us. And then, like I said, number 2 is getting into a movement. Move. Move around. Go do something. Maybe your non-negotiable is something that, it could either be a peaceful non-negotiable where you're just like, I just want to, I'm moving all day, I'm working all day, I'm running around with my kids, or I'm running around for everyone else. Maybe it's something that's just peaceful where you're just sitting there and you're just like, okay, this is just a time for me to just relax, put some music on, put some candles on, maybe read, whatever. Or it's something that's like, no, I need to get my ass out. Like, I've been sitting here in this desk all day. I need to go running. I need to go to the gym. I need to go move. I need to go dance. I need to get my friend. I need something to get me moving. Whatever that is, you need to move. Breathing is movement too. I think breathing is beautiful because when we're in this like stressed state, breathing is perfect. Because we're not breathing much, right? We're shallow breathers. We're stressed, or we're working on something, or we're constantly go. You've noticed that you've probably been holding your breath all day. So when I tell you to focus on your breathing, you can do this now. Why don't you breathe? Breathe. I've been talking so long that I haven't even taken a breath either, so that felt good. But when breathing is movement. So when you feel like you've been stressed or you can't, you're getting in this restricted zone, take a breath, take several breaths, get yourself back into your state, get yourself back into your natural energy, okay? Number 3 again, non-negotiables. I would love for you guys to take this time, if you have that pen and paper, I want you to write down one non-negotiable and when you're going to schedule that in. So what are you going to do in your non-negotiable? Are you going to meditate? Are you going to move? Are you going to breathe? How long? How long is your non-negotiable? And schedule it, okay? Because this is what is going to help us live more passion. It's going to help us be and rejuvenate. It's going to make us be that energy walking out into the world. It's going to make us more excited about life. And so, yes, positive thinking is a plus. I definitely don't agree with negative Nancy's. I don't want you guys all thinking that to be negative is okay. Being positive is beautiful. But you'll see that it naturally comes when you start filling yourself up. Because positivity is an emotion. It's just like walking around happy. But that comes with you doing things that fill yourself up. It's not saying like, oh God, you just need to think more positive. Here, think positive. You're so negative. It's like saying, when you're sad about something, for somebody to be like, be happy. It's like, well, give me the tools. Like, what do I do to be? Like, you have to actually do something to shift it. So I think with these 3 things, I think it'll start to get us in a mode of practice to shifting our energy and shifting our world around us. And that will actually be more positive. Everything in our life, everything that we do, everything that starts falling off, and coming in your life, everything that starts like just plotting down your life becomes positive. Your mindset, your spirit is positive, but it comes with you just being and doing and sustaining that energy that you have within yourself. So I think we're almost done, but I know that you guys may have some questions, and this is a recorded call, so you can always go back and see, if for some of the viewers that came on late, you can always see, the full call soon. We'll get that up as fast as possible. I will actually be on for another hour for you ladies or gentlemen, whatever, if you guys have any questions. I really love doing this because it really gets me in, I'm doing what I love to do, and I also love learning from you all. So if you have any questions or anything that I can help with, I would love to be here for the next hour, answering away. Whatever questions, free for all. Go ahead and I will answer in the next hour as many questions as possible, if not all. So whether it's on Instagram, whether it's on Facebook, Twitter, our website, ladiescoach.com, please ask away. I will be here for another hour. I'm so thankful for you guys. And I We'll see you next month. Actually, this is going to be a fun one. So I can't believe I'm saying this, but we'll get it all going. And I think I don't think I even told Alex. So Alex, you're now learning this for the first time too. Eek. Next month, I'm actually going to Europe, and one of my gorgeous, beautiful, I love her so much, girlfriends, her name is Victoria. She is actually doing some, she's getting into wellness coaching, and she used to be, a really well-known model, but she loves helping women present their best selves. So we're going to be doing like a fun makeup, how to get us, and we're talking about spiritually and energy right here, about how to get us, presenting our best self in our emotional state. But next month will be quite fun, because I think she'll be doing some makeup on me, which is great, and we're going to go into how to really present who you are through accessories and fun stuff, which I don't really know much about, but she's going to be on that call. So I'm really excited to see you guys. I hope to see you guys more. I'm always around, so questions, anything, ask away, and I will see you next time. So thank you so much, you guys. Thank you for tuning in. Bye.